Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, today we are going to talk about goals again. We are going to go deeper into the belief and really solidify how you make sure that these goals wind up coming to fruition. And I'm so excited for you to embrace this. So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of two girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, mamas. So we have been talking for the entire past month, the whole month of January, as well as this first week in February, about different things that can create this solid foundation for you to make 2026 your best year ever. And I really think that goals is a huge part of this. And I know that sometimes setting goals sounds like, I don't know, something that you do only if you have a job, or maybe if you are having something big in your life that you are trying to set a goal. But I think that really, honestly, if you are wanting more for yourself in any way, shape, or form, whatever that might look like for you, if you are a mom sitting there wanting more for yourself, then you need to have goals, right? We need to plan. That's something else, a different topic for a different day, but goals are super important and they are kind of like planning, right? It's a little bit of planning that goes into your goals. So I'm going to start off with a quote from Jim Rohn that says, "The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them." The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. You want to become the person that it actually takes to achieve this goal, which is why you set the goal in the first place, right? If you are sitting there as a mom feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, feeling unhappy, even though you feel like you should be happy, even though you feel like you have gotten to a place where you have on paper everything that you thought you wanted. However, there's something inside of you that actually still wants more, and you almost feel guilty for wanting that more. Now, you might be feeling fully guilty for wanting that more. Like, it depends on how early in the stage you are. I've been at all the stages where I was wanting more and feeling super guilty about it. I have been semi-guilty about it. And then I have been full on depressed and not knowing why I wanted more when I thought I had everything that I wanted, right? And so a lot of the things that I have been talking about in previous episodes, if you have not listened, you really do need to start with those core values. Go back a few weeks. I'll cite the episode in the show notes below, but go back and listen to that episode because the core values, the strength, all the different things that we do, they build up to this place where you're able to set these goals. And the reason that we set them is so that we can become the person that achieves these goals, right? You have to have the target, just like I talked about on Tuesday. If you don't have the target, which if you didn't listen to Tuesday's episode, that's also a good one to go listen to because I talked about how to set the goals. And we really do want to do these in bite-sized pieces because you know how mom life is. Mom life is crazy, right? And we never know what the day is going to bring. And so we have to set these goals that we are able to attain. They may even seem like they're too small. I remember when I used to be in sales and in business, and I would set goals for myself. And if I set goals for myself when I was like, quote unquote, an employee, and I did not hit them, It did not go well for me because I am really hard on myself. It wasn't like I got in trouble or whatever, although I'm sure that I would have gotten in trouble if I consistently did not hit my goals, but that was not me. I usually always hit my goals, but I was so driven. I always pushed myself to hit my goals. Now, fast forward to when I'm in mom life, when I'm working for myself and I try to set these lofty goals and I'm not hitting them over and over and over again because I still was like in the mindset of I need to set goals. I need to do all this. But I was set these goals so high and so big for myself that there was no way that I would be able to achieve them. Like, really, if I had sat there and thought about it and really figured out what it was going to take for me to actually hit these goals that I had set for myself, then I would have known that that probably wasn't possible, right? The A in the SMART goals that we talked about Tuesday is attainable. And if I would have broken it down, if I would have had somebody like hand holding me or, telling me like, Danielle, think about this, mom life, you're not clocking in and clocking out. And so when you are starting small with your goals, you are able to achieve them. And when you're able to achieve them, then you build that muscle, you build that momentum, you become the person who then achieves your goals. And what will happen next is you're able to set a bigger goal and then achieve that one and then set a bigger goal, right? Because once you start taking the action and you get into motion, then you can move forward. So even when something feels really almost like stupid for setting a goal, right? Like I'm going to set a goal and I do this all the time, you guys. Like, so I will look at my month and I will set a monthly goal for what I want to achieve this month. And when I sit there and think about it, I will be like, I can declutter my whole house in a month. I'm going to declutter my whole house. And then I'm going to look at it by week. What does that entail, Danielle? Like, what does that entail? If I were to declutter my whole house in a month, like I would basically be cleaning all of the time. It just isn't possible, right? There are so many mom duties, household duties, different things that I have to take care of, not to mention all of the other things that I have going on, right? That I have to have happen in addition to decluttering. And so I realized and recognized, number one, that I needed like a coach in this area. And so I hired some people who know how to do this, and they are the ones who are teaching me how to do this. But I was shocked at the level that they wanted me to go, how slowly and how much they wanted me to take my time and really figure out what was behind why I was not decluttering or what was behind why things were the way that they were or in certain spaces, or you didn't want to let go of this, that, or the other thing, or whatever it is. There's like a whole mindset behind it, but I'm kind of digressing. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I was shocked at how small the goals were I was going to have to create. And instead of decluttering my whole house, it was literally like they wanted you to start with one drawer, right? And see how long that took you. Number one, see how long the task takes, right? How long did it take you to declutter that drawer? How long did it take you to organize your silverware and get all of the stuff out of that drawer that shouldn't be there? How long did it take you to go through all of your mugs and figure out how many of them you don't use? These are things that we sometimes set these goals for ourselves that are not really attainable. Us taking the action is what is most important. And so when you set a small goal for yourself, like for me, when it was cleaning out one drawer, I was like, oh, I can do that. And then I saw that I could do it and how good the drawer looks and how long it took me, right? It took me longer, I guess, than I would have thought. But at the same time, it didn't really take me that much time. And I will say something else that is just like mom life. How you focus or how you frame things in your mind is also going to contribute to how well you're able to do a task. So when you think about having to get rid of stuff, that sounds bad, right? Like, what do I have to get rid of? What am I going to have to live without? Like, what might I need later that I don't really want to get rid of because I know I use this sometimes when this company comes over and yada, 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 right? But if you say, what do I get to keep? right? If you say, what do I use often? If you start to look at things a different way, then you're like, oh, when you reframe your mind and think about where your energy gets to focus, right? You want to be with your family. You want to be present. You want these things in addition to whatever it is that you're wanting for your life. That more, whatever that is for you, that's like pulling and calling you, then you can have that, but you might have to work at it in very small chunks, right? And so I like to give myself personal and professional goals. Like for me, the podcast and the coaching and all of that, I have different goals for that than I do for my personal life. And I try to keep them really separate, but also to keep them very realistic and break it down so that I can see every week, number one, what I need to do in order to accomplish that by the end of the month. But number two, what it is every week that I'm going to get done. And when you're motivating yourself in that way, where you're looking at, okay, this week I've got to get this done. And when you start getting it done and you're like, yes, 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 it becomes really motivating. Then the next week, you're like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And if you start doing it quicker, then, you can either decide one of two things. Number one, do I get to rest? Do I get to celebrate? Or do I want to start tackling some of the things that I can do next week because they're on next week's list to do, but I'm going to do them now because who knows what next week will hold, right? And that's completely up to you. Because there are weeks where you're probably not going to get everything done on your list, but there's also weeks where you're probably going to get more done than you anticipated. And that is all okay. And when you set these goals, like I was talking about on Tuesday, it's more like a target. It's more like what you're shooting for. It doesn't have to be something that you actually hit every single time. Now, one other quote that I love from Theodore Roosevelt that says, believe you can and you're halfway there. So when we believe that we can achieve these goals, when we believe that we can have the things that we want for our lives, when we believe that that is possible for us, that is half the battle. You are halfway there, right? When you are breaking things down small, that's helpful. But when you have that belief, right, that you can achieve something, that is the motivation that you need a lot of times, because we talked about also about how you actually have to take the action. And when you don't set goals that seem attainable to you, you're not going to take the action probably because, or even if you do take the action, it's not going to be consistent because you're going to quickly realize that you're not going to hit the goal. And then all of a sudden you're going to be dropping off. So you have to have that belief in yourself. You have to believe that you can, because when you can, you're going to take the action when you believe that you can. But when you believe that you can't, then all of a sudden you're talking yourself out of taking the actions that make you into the person that you want to be. You're going to be able to start to see that those things that you want for your life and in your life are actually achievable. Even if it may take you a little bit longer to get there than you thought it would, you will be shocked at how motivating it is that you're like, okay, but I'm making progress. Like, even the progress is something that will be exciting to you, right? One other quote from Tony Robbins I want to share is, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. It turns the invisible into the visible, because when you think about this goal that you want, sometimes it's like this big thing that's like far away, right? And you're like, I don't know how I would ever get there. I don't know, whatever. But it's the belief that you can, but it's setting the actual goal that makes that invisible thing visible. It takes what you want that may come in the long term and brings it into the short term. You're like, okay, what are the steps that I have to take to get what I want? And when you think about that, okay, how can I break it down? And what can I do now or this month or this week to get me to the place that I want to be? And you are going to start seeing in your mind that you can achieve these things when you're taking the action and when you're taking the steps and when you are starting to hit these goals that you set for yourself. And when you set goals, I know as a mom that it may not seem like that would be productive, but I hope that you've come to realize that no matter what the goal is, like it does not have to be big. It just has to be important to you. It just has to be something that you are like, if I were to do this thing this month, that would make me happy. Right? Because you know, how many months have you been sitting there wishing or wanting or not knowing what you want or unhappy, right? That you aren't getting or doing or making any progress. And then all of a sudden you're going to start making this progress towards it because you're going to write it down. You're going to physically have the goal in front of you and you're going to look at it every week and make sure that you're on track to hit it. I know I mentioned the other day my take on setting a daily goal, and you can totally set a daily goal. But I find as a mom, as a busy mom, that it's better to set a weekly goal than it is a daily goal because mom life be crazy, right? Mom life be crazy and things happen. And when you set daily goals, and you start to not hit it and not hit it, right? And not hit it. It is counterproductive because you aren't seeing that progress. But when you set a weekly goal and you know, okay, especially when you're motivated to take action on it at the beginning of the week, that is another key point is that you need to not wait. And you should go back and listen to one of my episodes about planning and how I talk about planning on Sundays for your entire week and how you should take action more at the beginning of the week so that if something comes up at the beginning of the week, you can push it further out, right? And so we don't get all of this stuff built up that we are like having to get done on Thursday or Friday because we pushed it off until then, right? We spread it out throughout the week. And so you want to start your week off right. Just like the example that I used on Tuesday about setting the goal about reading your Bible, right? Like reading for 15 minutes, reading your Bible for 15 minutes, 5 to 7 days a week. Because if you miss a day, then you're like, okay, I still hit the 5, right? Like if you miss 2 days, you still hit the 5, right? Now, if you miss 3 days, you aren't going to hit the 5 that week. And you're going to set the goal again next week. And if you start consistently hitting the 5 to 7, then maybe you move it up to 6 to 7. If that is something that you want to do and you're wanting to read the Bible every day for 15 minutes, then you will slowly build that muscle and then you will be implementing that. It will become a habit. And this is how we are putting that energy into becoming that person that we want to be. And we're actually emulating that person. We're acting like the person. We're acting like we already are that person, right? Because we're taking the action on these things that will make us that person. And then you are putting your energy into becoming that person. It's just going to happen by default. You're going to become that person by putting your energy into becoming that person, right? And you're taking these small actions. It's the tiny little habits that add up, right? And you will see that you're making progress consistently and you will see that you're able to hit these small goals. And then you will know, okay, do I have the capacity to raise it up? Do I have the capacity to hit this larger goal that I'm thinking of or wanting for my life quicker? Or is this how it is right now? Right? But you're still making the progress and you're still doing the things that make you feel fulfilled and happy. Because when we sit in the place where we don't know what we want, we don't know what's important to us, we aren't sure what makes us happy anymore, we are super overwhelmed, there's so much to do that we're not taking the time for ourselves, we're doubting ourselves, right? When we sit with all of these emotions that we're having, but we don't sit and figure out how to get out of them, that is when we start to go deeper into that place of thinking we can't, of not believing in ourselves, of self-doubt, of all of these things that we do not want for our life. You are worthy of so much more. You are worthy of everything that you desire. I truly believe that. If you are wanting something in your gut, I believe that's a God thing. And I believe that that desire is placed there for a specific purpose and a reason, and that you should tap into it. But I also believe that if you try to go at it the way that you've gone at it before, or if you try to go at it gung-ho, or if you try to go at it all of these ways that used to work and these things that you used to do, it is not going to work for you. And I know this from experience. I know this from experience because I've been there and I've done all of the wrong things. And so I really want you to create this solid foundation for your year, for your life, for yourself and your family so that you can work on becoming that person that is fulfilled, that is happy, that is doing exactly what it is that she's meant to be doing, right? That's what I want for you. That's what we do in my coaching. So if you're so inclined, please go to my website, prioritizewithpurpose.com, sign up for a prioritization clarity call with me, and I will help you get clear on all of these things. There really is a process, like a roadmap that we build for you. I have given you a lot of tips and ways that you can do this on your own. And I believe that if you follow them, that you will get there eventually. But I know from experience also that if you have someone there to walk it with you, to walk along the path, to help point you in the right direction, someone who kind of is objective, that it really does help a tremendous amount and that you will get there so much quicker and with so much less frustration. And so I would love to help you with that. So go to my website, prioritizewithpurpose.com, sign up for a call with me, and I will meet you right back here next week, okay? I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right back here next week. Keep smiling, y'all.